Welcome to Main Street Sports. Ray Halbert here, owner of Livestream SCL. Hope you guys are having a great day. We have part 3 of our football preview for 2020, and we've got some great guests today here, and nothing more special than having the Jeff Whitener here. Jeff, how are you, my friend?
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you thinking that I'm special.
Yeah, you are special.
I'm some kind of special, that's for sure. So are you.
Right.
Hey, excited to continue our football series this week with 3 area coaches that we all know, but we're excited to get their take on the 2020 season. Next to me, we have the head coach for the DeSoto Dragons, Chris Johnson. Coach, we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you guys for the invite. Appreciate it.
And in the middle today, keeping the peace between everybody, is head coach of the Herculaneum Blackcats, Cody Hunter. Thanks for coming in, Coach, and taking time.
Thanks for having us.
And down at the end, last but not least, the coach of the 8-3 2019 St. Pius Lancers in his first year, Mr. Dan Oliver. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I hope I'm that good again this year.
I guess before we get started, guys, we just had our first full week of training camp. How is it going as far as all of the protocols and procedures for COVID-19? I'll start with Coach Johnson here.
It's not easy, but you got to do what you're supposed to do. So I think once you kind of figured out how the day-to-day operation is supposed to look and that you're taking all the necessary precautions, and it's really just kind of retraining the kids, thought process about what they're doing and the proximity that is kind of required. So it's not easy, but, at this time of the year, I don't think anybody – we're all just glad that we're at least getting to play. So we'll do whatever we're supposed to do.
Coach Hunter, has it been hard to remind the kids, not even high-five one another and stuff like that? It's just,
Yeah, definitely. I've been yelling socially distance all the time, socially distance break and all that good stuff. And basically what it comes down to for us is we're trying to delegate with our coaches to kind of take a piece of it and say, hey, you're fogging or you're sanitizing or you're in charge of this when they come in the door, make sure they mask up. But our kids have been really good about it. We say sanitize, they sanitize in the weight room, sanitize in the locker room. We say mask up, they know what to do. So they want the season as much as we do, so they're willing to do whatever they need to do to play football. So
it reminds me, we had Coach Rugley from Jefferson R7 on a couple of weeks ago, and he said right now our weight room's probably the cleanest room in the whole school.
Yeah, good call.
Because we're very diligent about keeping things going. How are things over at looking at St. Pius in terms of all the proper procedures and protocols, Coach?
It's pretty much the same there, too. With the weight room's been sanitized. The kids, like I said, they're real good about it. They want to play. I mean, we told them they're going to have to wear masks and so forth, and they were like, and it's like, hey, either that or we don't play. And then it hits. Then everybody's fine with it and, understands this is what we got to do because a lot of those kids played spring sports or wanted to and then didn't get that opportunity, so they don't want to do it again.
Absolutely. Now, you guys both have neck gaiters that
Yes.
you guys are you using a specific mask or
Well,
whatever
they came out yesterday and said that we can't wear neck gaiters. So, now we're having to regroup here wherein we had them all ordered and ready to go. And that was going to be our plan as well. So, a kid on the field, he's wearing the neck, around his neck, and he comes off the field, pulls it up, and then the next group goes in and all that. And now, I don't know. I can see all our guys out there with these little ones, stuck in their pocket, and somewhere that
Those are going to last about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and how many of them are going to be left laying on the ground because I forgot where I put it and it fell out of my helmet. And I don't know. It's going to be a challenge for everybody, especially some of these guys that are. Their first year in high school, they haven't even, really, they don't know where their locker is yet, So.
Oh, I remember that. That was not good. Yeah, not to mention the fact that you guys already spent all the money on the neck gaiters.
Yeah,
and stuff like that,
I know our district already bought them, and all of our guys already had them, and we found that out yesterday too, and we're like,
oh my goodness gracious!
So much for that.
Well, enough COVID talk for the moment, Ray. Let's move on and get into the heart of things here, and we're going to start off with Coach Hunter and put him in the hot seat first. The star of TV interviews here, Coach Hunter.
He did look good on Fox 2 the other day.
That's right, and he did a great job. Last year was a challenging season for you, Coach. 2-8 record overall, I believe. I think you lost, was it 18 seniors total?
15.
15
by the end of
seniors,
it, yeah.
so a good chunk. For a small school, that's a good chunk of seniors to lose. On offense, you were led by a quartet of seniors,
Mm-hmm.
Austin Houston, Tyler Reuter, Ethan Coy, Luke Teague in there too, and they accounted for the vast majority of total yards, rushing, passing, and receiving. So some big shoes to fill there. Ethan Coy and Luke Teague both saw time quarterback last year for you. And on defense, Austin Houston, leading tackler, and Doug Maloney. Right
Mikey
there.
Maloney.
Mike Maloney, I'm sorry. Right, so many Maloney's. It's the Maloney
There's 9 of them.
dynasty over there at Herculaneum, that's for sure. But before we get into 2020 and talk about how you're going to fill those shoes, talk about the 2019 season a little bit.
Yeah, 2-8 is not where we wanted to be, obviously, but we had some kids go down. You got injuries throughout the season. You just kind of adapt. We as a staff decided, whether we got a younger kid that might be able to fill in for one of those seniors, we're going to keep our JV program together and try to build a football program, let those guys play together, and then let the seniors have their team. And that's what they did. And, we had a little success there. It's not the success we wanted, but we kept working with those kids. And, when you're graduating all 5 linemen, 2 quarterbacks, that was a big thing for us. We never really had that consistent quarterback. Luke Teague, the guy should have been a tight end all year. Probably been an all-conference, all-district tight end,
Right.
But we got to do what's best for our team. We got a small number of kids, and we get what walks through the door. And we got to coach them up, and that's our job. And, we try to do the best we could, and ultimately, 2-8 is where we ended up.
Well, you hit on a really good point there, especially at a small school, the cohesiveness of keeping that JV squad together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, you're going to have, on a small school at varsity, you're going to have freshmen, underclassmen who are really good, they're going to start for you. But to make that decision, okay, these seniors, they've been in the program, they've worked. Let's let them have their due and keep those JV guys together as much as possible. When you touched on that, I saw both coaches right and left of you shaking their heads in agreement on that as something that will benefit you hopefully this year and down the road, right?
Right, of course. We knew what I was coming in 2-3 years ago, what was there before and what we were moving forward with, So we as a staff decided, hey, win or lose, we're not doing everything and being desperate to try to win our games on Friday night. We're going to win with our upperclassmen or lose with our upperclassmen, try to build and bring our philosophy into these underclassmen because we have them for 4 years, and that's what we're going to try to do because they're ultimately going to be our varsity team this year. So with that many seniors, they were bigger. They were stronger than the younger kids. It was coaching them into our philosophy was the thing, and that was a battle from day to day depending on which kid you're talking about, but they're great football players, or they're great kids, and we tried to get them to be the best football players they could for us, and I feel bad for them that they didn't get to win a bunch of games, but I think they enjoyed their time as Black Cats, and that's ultimately what it is. It's not just about wins and losses, it's what else did you get out of the football program, and I think we've built some things in the last 2 years, and hopefully we're moving forward and we're getting these kids a great experience. And, moving forward, hopefully we're, you want to say in year 3 of your coaching career, you're building for a bunch of wins.
Sure.
I can't sit here and say that with our numbers because we got 2 returners coming and, 5 seniors. And we knew that was coming too because last year our senior group was big and then our junior and sophomore class was pretty small, which now makes them our senior-junior group. So that sophomore class is pretty talented. It's a good group of kids, but they're going to have to play some Friday nights this year for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. Was a really good point that I'd never thought of before, so I appreciate you bringing that up about keeping those JV kids together. But you also led right into my next question for you as far as the health of your guys right now. Anybody that was injured last year coming back, are they healthy this year? This first week of camp, is anybody get dinged up at all? How's the health and how do the overall numbers look?
Well, the overall numbers aren't as great as what we wanted. We got about 40 kids, 9 through 12, which isn't ideal for sure. We're pretty thin at the offensive line for sure, but we got some skilled kids. Last year we were Austin Houston right, left. He was our defensive guy with Mikey next to him and things like that. But we actually have a little depth at the running back position. We're going to take a sophomore quarterback, and we're going to build him for the next 3 years. It's the first time we've had the chance to do that instead of, hey, there's just a rotating quarterback every year. That's tough in any football program just to keep trying to produce that leader and that skill position, which is going to run your team. So we're going to be young. But our kids are extremely coachable. They were extremely coachable as JV guys. They're going to be extremely coachable as varsity guys. It's just they don't have much experience. So we're overall pretty healthy. We got a couple kids that we've talked to come out. That's kind of what we do at Herky, you know. Hey, we pound on the hallways trying to get these kids to come out and get our numbers up so that we can have a little depth and have a scout team, you know. What kids we get to come out are the kids walking in our halls, and we're going to ask every single one of them. I'm kind of known for that in the hallway. Kids are going to, try to go around my classroom or get away from me because I'm constant. You can tell me no 10 times, but I'm going to ask you 12. So we're going to do what we do at Herky.
Well, and I remember being that age too, and I benefited from a little nudge from my coaches and teachers every once in a while, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Right.
Any positive takeaways from your first week of camp? Anybody stand out that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, one kid we got, DJ Johnson. He hasn't got to play with us in our program yet. You know, he's going to be a junior for us. I'm real excited to see what he can do. And Jackson Deering's that sophomore quarterback I talked about. And from day one in July when we first got out, him not playing quarterback before, he's been putting in some work on his own time, and he's getting better every day. You know, Coach DeMolin, our offensive coordinator, was a quarterback in college. Played for a state title in high school, you know, and he's really been working with him a lot. Coach Graham's been working with him a lot, and the kid's receptive to everything. You know, he's like a sponge. He's taking it all in, and he's getting better day to day. And like I said, overall, our kids are receptive as a team. They're more of a team than ever before. It's not, hey, this kid's our star or anything like that. We're more of a team now and cohesive group than we have been in the past 2 years, and I'm excited for that. And I know it's a breath of fresh air for our coaching staff. We've said it multiple times that we got a group of kids that want to be there, that love each other a little bit more, got that brotherhood and teamwork going, and that's something we haven't really had as much as we'd like to in the last 2 seasons. So getting there is a real positive for us.
Well, you mentioned losing so many seniors to graduation, so there should be plenty of competitions for starting jobs, I'm sure, particularly at the skill position. But you mentioned also the line as well. And here again, my weekly disclaimer: I hate that phrase "skilled position," because being an old line D-line guy, that's just as skilled as any other position on the field. But what are some of the best battles on the depth chart going to be for you?
Well, the good thing is that at the running back position, we got 5 guys, I think, that can tote the rock for us, and depending on, once again, Herculaneum small school, you got guys playing offense, defense, special teams, so it might just be 2 or 3 carries here, but that guy that's getting those 2 or 3 carries and keeping them from this guy to get a breather on the sideline is huge for us when we go back on defense, or, I think our special teams are going to be a lot better this year because of those kinds of things, and that's things we have to adapt to. Week to week and see who's healthy and good stuff like that. So, we got Mikey Maloney can run the ball, Cole Myers that can run the ball, Dalton Stiegel, Tristan Watson, and a new kid we got out for the first time as a junior, Aiden Reese. So he's been a bright spot. Something that we didn't expect to have, and now we got him. So we got 5 guys that can really tote the rock.
Just as a quick aside, Mikey Maloney, I've been able to watch him play ever since he was in 7th grade, and I knew the kid was going to be something special just watching him dominate 7th and 8th grade football, and is one of the best players out there. You can always pick out middle school football. There's 2 or 3 guys on each squad to go, okay, that kid gets it. He's an athlete. He's ahead of everybody else, Where now will he move over to Austin Houston's position and take over the defense now?
Yeah, he'll run the defense for us, and the kid, as a freshman, you're asking – a lot out of a freshman to go play, but, a lot of coaches we had the discussion, should we keep him down with this group? Well, best kid's going to play, and that kid was the best kid on the field at that position, and he earned it last year, and
Sure.
You watch the game, the kid can hit, the kid can do what he's supposed to do, and, last year I worked a lot with him reading what he's supposed to be looking at, and now it's just, it's clockwork for him, and not only is he a great football player, he's a great teammate, and that's that. A lot of kids follow that kind of kid. He's going to do it on the field. He's going to do it in practice. He's going to talk and be about it kind of kid.
And I love your answers, Coach Hunter, because Ray, he's every answer he's got is leading right into my next question for him. So it's a thing of beauty here.
It's that Herculaneum.
Is that what it is? Yeah, there you go.
That's
There
what
you
it
go.
is right there.
Ray always has to throw that in there every chance he gets. Speaking of leadership and taking over the defense, who do you expect your leaders to be on the team this year?
Well, that I guess that's what we're looking for as a staff is, we got all these seniors, or excuse me, a few seniors, 6 seniors, but we got these seniors who have never really played varsity besides Cole Myers, and, you can't really make a kid a leader. You want to try to develop them be leaders, but either they're vocal kids or they're not vocal kids. And honestly, we just got a bunch of nice, quiet kids. And us as coaches, we're trying to get these guys to lead their team. And we tell, I'm sure these guys do the same thing. Doesn't matter if you're a freshman, senior, anywhere in between. A leader's a leader, and I guess that's what we lack because we're such a young team. And we are so, we don't have a lot of varsity veterans, I guess you would say. So we're trying to develop these kids not only as football players but also as leaders and to get some enthusiasm out there, which sometimes, it's got to come from the coaching staff, and we'll do that.
Sure.
We'll pick up the slack till they kind of learn their role.
I'm sure by the end of camp, some guys will start emerging as guys that will lead and the other guys can look up to, I'm
right.
sure.
Right.
And you mentioned your coaching staff. Perfect segue to my next question.
You were good at
How is your coaching
segue.
staff? Well, he got all experience now on TV.
He was big time.
That's right.
Went to a couple classes, guys.
Oh, there you go.
There's a class for this.
Any changes to the coaching staff this year, or any additions?
Yeah, we got a couple additions, and I didn't have a whole lot of leeway in what I was going to do with my staff the first year. I got hired June 6th. That's pretty late in the game.
Right.
So it was like, all right, you're doing this, you're doing that, I'm doing this, and we're going to figure it out. Not a lot of teaching positions open. We're going to do what we got to do. Second year, last year, this is what we think we figured out. Get this guy here, get this guy here. This year, a couple of my veteran coaches, I guess you would say now, into our third year. What's the best possibility for us to get these kids playing at the highest level? So I moved a couple guys around. Coach DeMone's going to call our offense. Coach Graham went from OC. I'm going to let him be DC. And then we had two other pickup guys come in that we didn't have before. I got my junior high coach, Ryan Dickerman, come up to the varsity because he basically took one for the team last year and moved down to junior high because we didn't have anybody fill the spot. So he's like, Coach, I'll do whatever you need me to do for the program. And that's what it comes down to at Herky. Everybody's willing to do what's best for Herculaneum football as a program. We don't have a whole lot of teaching positions open, so we take what we got, and we're going to mold it to the best we can for our football players.
Well, I think Dickerman will be a good addition up to the varsity staff, obviously. Last question for you, and then you're out of the hot seat.
All right.
You've strengthened your schedule quite a bit this year, in my opinion. You got Windsor on the schedule to start off with, and I think we have that game, do we not?
We do.
And then also Perryville at the end of the season. Conscious effort on your part. What's your philosophy behind adding those schools? Is it strictly by the numbers district wise as far as seating, or what was the idea?
Well, a lot of things come into play when you're looking at that. Availability, number one. Who's reaching out to my athletic director? Where am I asking my athletic director to move? Go look around for games. With the whole equation to figure out where you're going to sit in the district seed at the end of the season, playing a Class 4 school helps us. Our conference is such small schools that it really hurts us, because we're stuck in those conference games. So at the end, whether we win or lose that against that Class 4 school, that Class 3 school, it actually helps us more than playing a Class 1 school.
Right.
I really didn't want to lose Crystal. I love Dan Fox. He's a good buddy of mine, and I really like that rivalry that Herky and Crystal's had for years and years. I really wanted that one on the schedule, but with the change in our conference and picking up Bayless, that was kind of out of my hands. But as far as Windsor and Duchesne and Perryville, let's go get some. Let's go challenge ourselves a little bit. Whether we're young or not, let's go play some football and see where we're at.
Well, I love it. I love the idea personally. I think that's win or lose. It's always good to play up and get a taste of what that competition is like. All right, Ray, if we could, let's take our first break, and then when we come back, there be dragons on the horizon. We're talking the DeSoto variety right here, the Main Street Sports Show on Livestream STL.
I'm about to get teed up. What? I'm talking to them. I'm not talking to you. Are you kidding me? You're throwing me out of a summer league game? I'm not Riley Blair. I'm not going anywhere. He shoot the free throws. Shoot the cops. Join us. Coach's Box, 7 p.m. live from Robert Jenkins. Tuesday night. See you there.
for fine Mexican cuisine.
A family atmosphere.
Any place to watch your local sport teams. Come out to La Pechangas. Check out our 4 locations: Arnold, Herculaneum, Crystal City, and Bonter. Come out to La Pechanga.
A former player and coach of Festus 253 baseball, and now specializing in criminal defense, family law, wills, estates, and trusts, the law offices of Matthew Brown is here for you, representing you the right way, not the easy way. In Festus at 101 East Main Street or on Facebook and the web, call 314-628-0033.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI, so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
Where's the game? Where's the game? Where's the game? There's the game. Livestream STL, now available on Roku.
We are back here. Thanks for watching Main Street Sports. We are here for part 2 here of our football preview, part 3, round 2, I guess if you want to call it round 2 of today. So
3.2.
Yeah, 3.2. We got to make it all tech savvy for everybody here.
Exactly.
So there you go. So Jeff, let's get started with our second half here.
We've got Coach Chris Johnson in the barrel now here for the second half. We're going to grill him a little bit on the Dragons 2020 team, but first we'll talk about the 2019 season. 4-6 overall record. Started off really good. 13 seniors lost?
Yeah, that's about right.
About right for graduation.
Yes, sir.
Briar Fisher, he led a balanced attack on offense. He's the team's third leading rusher, too, behind Dominic Panjani and Jacob Kerbler. Mm-hmm. Before I go any further here, has Briar found a school yet for baseball?
He is going to go play baseball at MAC.
Okay, good. Because we had him on the show this summer,
right.
And you know these baseball guys just been left up in the air. It's been terrible. So I'm very very happy.
He's
for
a great
Briar.
kid. I was glad that he's able to go play. So.
He'll be a good pickup for Mac for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you've lost your starting quarterback, but you have your leading rusher and 2 of your 3 main receivers back. Big part of your defense and leading tackler last year was Will Rector. Kind of, if you would, just like Coach Hunter did, recap that 2019 season for us a little bit?
Sure. It was definitely some ups and downs. I try to tell people when they ask, unfortunately sometimes the overall record is what everybody cares about, but I try to tell people, look, if you were to say at the beginning of the year you would be, 3-1 and tied for basically record-wise a conference championship, and if we would have beaten Hillsboro at Hillsboro, we would have won the conference outright, but they do the head-to-head thing. They were 3-1, and we were 3-1, and because of the head-to-head, they beat us, so we ended up having to take second. So I said if you were to tell me at the beginning of the year we would basically have a chance to play for an outright undefeated conference season, we would finally end that stupid streak against Festus that's been around forever. And then finished the highest. We finished the highest we've ever finished since they've gone to the new format as far as district goes. It was the highest we've ever finished with our district. I said, if you'd have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have absolutely signed up for it. Now, 4-6 is not necessarily, the record we wanted, but as far as our goals and what we try to do internally, as far as playing for conference championships, trying to win conference championships, trying to get ourselves as high up on the district as we can so that we can hopefully try to make a playoff run, start winning some playoff games and stuff. All of those goals were absolutely were checked off. The overall record, we had a couple of them. We lost by a touchdown 2 different times. We had a couple touchdowns that were in our hands that dropped, and we had some things. So, overall, was the record where I wanted it? No. But as far as the goals and what we were trying to accomplish, we definitely accomplished a lot of good things last year.
There was a great quote last year, and I don't know if it was from you or Coach Genge, one or the other, that said, we got a seat at the table.
Yeah, that was always my big thing from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was a huge remember the old Program movie where the guy,
Yeah.
I was always a huge fan of that movie from back in the day. And when I took over, I just didn't feel like we were on par. I just felt like we were looked at as we just weren't looked at by Hillsborough and Festus and some of those North County, they just didn't look at us as like a true opponent. And so that's always kind of been that burning thing inside of me as far as just trying to get us where – no, you're not overlooking us anymore.
Hunger, that motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, once we finally finished that stupid streak with Festus off and then we're able to play for that conference championship, that was kind of my big thing was, hey, you boys have been putting in the work, and it's been a long 4 years, but you know what? You guys kind of earned your seat at the table. So
it's kind of like Thanksgiving dinner. You move from the kids' folding card table in the living room up to the table with the adults.
I remember that. Oh, yeah. No, I was glad to at least get at the big boy table and get to eat the big boy food. So
there you go.
It was good for our program. We needed that.
I love it. Anyone caught your eye this first week at camp that raised an eyebrow or so?
Well, we're really having to kind of, not to the extent with Coach Hunter, but we definitely are having to hit the reset button because we lost every offensive starting lineman. So we've got no returning linemen. So we're starting scratch with all 5 new guys, new tight end, everything. We don't have anybody that had any experience up front. So that part of it is definitely going to be a long learning curve as far as we kind of get into the season. But, really on both sides of the ball, the senior guys that had some playing experience, I've got, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 guys, Ethan Rising, Will Rector, Don Punjani, Levi Fisher. I don't want to forget anybody, but basically those skill group guys, those guys got playing time last year. And so now they're having to step up and assume the leadership role. And for the most part, they've done a really good job. Ethan's going to be playing quarterback for us, which is different. He played it back in junior high, but out of Breyer and his position, we didn't want to leave Ethan on the sideline because he's a good athlete, and so we moved him to receiver for the last couple of years. And so now with Breyer gone, Ethan's now got to transition back into his quarterback. And so it'll look a little bit different, but he's done a good job at trying to understand when you play the quarterback position, the leadership that goes with it, and how you have to conduct yourself and how you have to kind of act different. You can't just be the goofy kid that you normally want to be. You got to kind of do things a little different. But he's done a good job. And then on the defensive side, Will Rector was our leading tackler last year, so we are bringing him back. And a lot of the reason I think some of the success he was able to have last year was based on those guys up front. We had a lot of beef up front. We were pretty heavy up front.
Yes.
And so it gave him a lot of the ability to really kind of run around a lot. Now that's gone. He's going to have to really pick up his level of intensity and really try to pull the guys around him. A lot of new guys are going to be on the field on Friday night, so he's really going to have to do a good job of getting those guys up to speed as fast as possible. But for the most part so far, these guys have been doing a good job.
It's Ray, now as good as Coach Hunter was and leading me from question for Coach Johnson just answered about 5 or 6 of my questions.
Oh my gosh!
Right there, and
quick
that take.
Oh,
that was that's the Zach Bone take. The that answers all your questions in one shot.
Right.
There.
Boom.
That's the.
You guys been talking to Coach Bone?
Yeah, he gave me the rundown. He's like, all right, here's how you do it.
There it is. That's awesome.
So you talked about Ethan Brooks, obviously, and what he's going to need to do this year.
Rising. I'm Rising. I do have an
Ethan Rising.
I do have an Ethan Brooks who's going to be on the field for us for the first time, but Rising's the quarterback. Yes,
right. That's what I meant.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry. Who's gonna give him a little push, a little competition as far as the depth behind Ethan?
At the quarterback spot?
Yes.
Nobody. Next question. How about that one? How about that? I'll make that real easy.
We're gonna direct snap.
Sure. If he goes down, we're gonna figure it out. I mean, we are like what Coach Hunter said, man. I mean, you got to figure out what you got, and you got to try to get. But at the end of the day, Ethan Brooks, it's funny as you say that. Ethan Brooks is really the next guy that's been repping. He played JV quarterback as a sophomore. He's going to be a junior. He's probably going to start on our defense this year. But in a situation, Ethan Brooks will be the next guy in. And again, he plays quarterback, but it's not necessarily the most comfortable for him, and so it's a learning process with him as well. They're both very similar, and they're both more running style-based quarterbacks that can throw versus what we've had with Briar that like to throw it as opposed to running it. Good lead in.
Leads me right into my next question. That's beautiful. You've got new quarterback. You've got new O-line this year.
Oh, yeah.
Any chance or any plans on streamlining the offense, simplifying things this year? Or are you still going to try to go with a balanced attack? You still going to try to sling the ball around?
Well, we're going to have to change. No, we definitely have to change. A lot of we've kind of built over the last couple of years with Briar. We did a lot of those RPOs where he could read it, pull it, throw it, and he could do a lot of things with it. We've kind of eliminated some of the stuff that we've done in the past because when you started for 3 seasons, your senior year, you kind of can do a lot more with a kid after he started for 3 years as opposed to a brand new starter. So, so we're definitely we're trying to cut down on some of the things we've done in the past, and once we get into some jamborees and get some actual snaps, hopefully against somebody else, we're going to kind of try to build and see what he does well, and then try to build it from there. But it will definitely look different this year on both sides of the ball from what it has in the past.
Well, you lost assistant Mike Genge. He left the Dragons to become the head coach at Oakville. We've had him on the Coach's Box show about a month ago.
We can't talk about the Coach's Box.
What's that?
We can't talk about the Coach's Box.
Oh, is it it's embargoed or something?
Embargoed, yeah.
There
something like
go.
That, right? It's an ongoing little feud between us and them.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Who do you have coming to the staff now, and what are you going to do as far as defense on the defensive side of the ball as far as coaching?
Defensive side of the ball, Tom Hurt has been with our staff for the last couple of years. He's kind of been Mike's right-hand man. He coached 15, 20 years ago at DeSoto, and I think he was at Windsor for a couple of years. Ended up having a couple kids, got out of coaching, continued to be a teacher. So we were able to get him on staff a couple years ago. And so him and Mike really have kind of been running the defense for the last couple of years. And so he's going to take over as the defensive guy. On the offensive side, I added Keith Woodland. He played at Hillsborough back in the day, and he coached at Windsor and a few other places. He's been with me for a couple of years. And so this year, I really felt like I've got 2 really quality guys that needed to have their hand. When I had Mike last year, he really just kind of ran the defense, and he had more head coaching experience than I had. So I really could let him do his thing on defense, and then I really was able to concentrate on offense. But I've got 2 really, really quality guys that I think both could absolutely be head coaches, and both are, really, really talented. So this year I'm going to step away as far as the play calling duty goes, and Coach Woodland's going to take over with his experience. He's got a lot of option background stuff, and for us, with the new kind of offense and the new quarterback we have, it really kind of fits, and it's a good time as far as kind of trying to transition out, and allows me to actually be able to help a little bit more on defense, which in the past I didn't have to do that much. So those 2 guys, Coach Hurt and Coach Wheeler, are going to do each side of the ball. But outside of that, we basically brought almost everybody else back. We hired Ryan Ochoa, graduated from Hillsborough maybe about 5-6 years ago, been playing at Southeast at SEMO. He just got hired on as a teacher, and again, when you have a teaching spot, it's kind of gold.
He's
to
a big
find
wrestler
somebody.
too, I
yes,
believe.
Yeah, he's a big kid. He's a good-looking kid. So he's been there, and so he's kind of our added addition on the varsity staff. Other than that, everybody else is for the most part back and ready to rock and roll.
Sneak a jersey on him every once in a while.
Wouldn't that be nice? I'll tell you this much: when he jogs out on the field, he's not going to look like all the other guys I've got jogging out on the field. So you'll pick him out real quick. Like, hold on, man, this guy's not been on. No. They didn't have anybody look like that on film. So yeah, he could play right now. I promise you. So.
Well, it's. I'm glad it worked out. Obviously, it worked out for Coach Genge getting the job at Oakville. But with that transition in the new offense, being able to plug in people that were more familiar with the new, it just kind of that should dovetail nicely for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think if you do a good job with, Coach was talking a minute ago about, having the assistants. If your assistants are there and they're bought in and they're believing in your product and they're, engaged in what you're trying to do, it definitely makes it easier as guys leave and, get other opportunities like Coach Genge. It allows other guys to be able to step up in leadership type roles. And so far I've been very, very happy with how these guys have done that.
Well, look, talking about the fact that, the new look offense coming in with the personnel that you have, would you say at this point the defense will really be your team's strength? I mean, last year you gave up the fewest number of points in the conference on defense.
Yep.
really stout defense.
Yep.
And, do you think that that'll still be the strength this year?
We'll see. How about that? That's about as good as I can give you.
Catch me in November.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was going to say. I mean, until until you actually get to let these guys actually take snaps and see how they react and what they can do. When you have this many new guys, we're basically going to have about 8 new starters on each side of the ball. So the 2 or 3 guys that have played on each side of the ball, you just don't know how these new guys how they're going to react and how they're going to take the speed and the physicality and stuff. But I'd like to think that we're definitely going to be faster. We're going to be able to get to the ball a lot more. We're nothing like we were last year as far as size up front. So it's going to have to be kind of a new idea, new identity, I guess, in a way, as far as how we want to. A lot more speed, yeah, a lot more speed. So we've just got to utilize what I think we can do well, and we've got to try to take that into some Friday nights.
Who, with all those new guys this year, who are you going to be looking at for your leaders this year on the team?
Well, I think, with the senior guys that have been there, those guys that have already gotten some playing time, I think they naturally have that leadership role. Up front, I've actually had a couple guys that are seniors, Drew Hewitt, Tim Harmon. I've got a couple of sophomores that I'm going to probably have to give them quite a bit of playing time. I might end up with upwards of maybe even 3 sophomores on the line when it's all said and done. But, it's just really them taking ownership of their position groups. We work hard to make sure that the linemen, we call them heart and soul for that reason, so they know, you're kind of the heart and soul of the team. So each position group, we try to make sure that we find leaders within each position group, so then that way the accountability starts with the players and they hold each other accountable, because at the end of the day, that goes a lot further than, us coaches trying to do it. So when they hold each other accountable, it
I like that idea. Having kind of a guy in each area of
I think it helps. That way you kind of have that guy to lean on when it comes to each position group, so you kind of know, hey,
sure,
you guys aren't practicing very hard right now. What's going on, dude? Let's go pick it up. So,
and as far as plugging sophomores, underclassmen into the line, especially the offensive line, that should be no problem, because those are typically, and I speak from experience, the most intelligent players on the field.
Well, very good then. So there you go.
You should have no problem.
I never played offensive line, but I will say this much, man. When you get smart offensive linemen, boy, it does make a big difference. When those guys are smart, I've been lucky the last couple of years to have some pretty good ones up front. So I'm hoping these guys can fill and step in and still kind of do the things that these guys have done in the past.
I always have to give love to my O-line guys, always.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You don't realize how important they are until you don't have them. So
that's right.
You got to love those guys up.
Well, last year you got a seat at the table.
There we go.
With the teams in the conference. Looking at the crystal ball this year and seeing maybe some other teams and what they've done and retooled, and obviously you're going to be dealing with 2 new head coaches in the conference. Who do you see as your biggest challenges this year?
I think at the end of the day, I would like to think that it will still kind of come down to what it's been the last year or two, which I would like to think that we can keep ourselves in the mix with, kind of Festus Hillsborough. I know they're both talented and got a lot of returners, with some talented guys. North County is always hard to play. We have to go to North County this year, so that's never fun. And then as far as Windsor goes, if Derek's healthy, then they can beat anybody. So, I think at the end of the day, most of those games, if you go back and look, really almost every conference game that we played last year was within 7 to 10 points. Whether we won it or we lost it, nobody was really getting blown out. Everybody was competitive every week. So, I think at the end of the day, that's what you're going to see is all those conference games are going to be very competitive again this year. And whoever can pull out some plays at the end and maybe, take care of the football a little bit better, I think they're the ones that will come out on top.
And that is the perfect coach answer. He didn't have to. He mentioned all the teams, but he didn't mention one is sticking at that. That is perfect. That it's a.
You got to make sure you don't. I was going to say you can't put yourself in a corner right
now.
No, so.
Exactly.
Nope.
Not that we wouldn't try, of course.
I understand.
But,
that's all right.
That's all right. Well, Ray, why don't we take our second break of the day, and when we come back, we're going to tell them we saved our best for last year.
All right. Yeah, I like
We're going to be back with Dan Oliver, the St. Pius Lancers. So stick around. You're watching the Main Street Sports Show live right here on Livestream STL.
USA Mortgage, the home of possibility. Offices located in Festus, servicing homeowners from St. Louis to Cape Girardeau. Contact Justin Neal at 636-385-5232 or check him out on the web at festus.usa-mortgage.com.
Since their inception in 1980, SMCI has always been about high integrity and treating people the way you would want to be treated, just like family. Mostly known as a commercial contractor, SMCI has now decided to give the family treatment to everyone. They are now opening their residential department to the public as Home by SMCI so everyone can experience the home treatment. Everyone deserves maximum comfort in their very own home. Isn't it time you come home? Contact SMCI at 636-337-4444 or on the web at homebysmci.com.
For fine Mexican cuisine,
A family atmosphere.
any place to watch your local sport teams. Come out to La Pechangas. Check out our 4 locations: Arnold, Herculaneum, Crystal City, and Bonter. Come out to La Pechanga.
A former player and coach of Festus 253 baseball, and now specializing in criminal defense, family law, wills, estates, and trusts, the law offices of Matthew Brown is here for you, representing you the right way, not the easy way. In Festus at 101 East Main Street or on Facebook and the web, call 314-628-0033.
Guys, I've always wanted to ask you this since you're both pitchers. What's your favorite pitch? It's a fastball? Okay, I know. It's a curveball. No? Okay, well, what's your favorite pitch?
Oh, yeah. Spitball.
The Main Street Sports Show. You never know what we're going to throw at you. I want to tell you a little bit about Jeffco Friday Night Blitz. That's going to be our football segments on Friday night, where we will have 2 games going on our Livestream STL channel and our brand new Livestream STL South channel. If you haven't jumped on the Livestream STL Facebook page, do that. Make sure you like and share. If you're interested in advertising with us for it, these are all the teams that we're covering this year. We've got 10 teams right here, and we will be doing double games. So if you're interested in advertising, give us a call, 314-852-4398, or livestream STL at outlook.com. We always talk about our Roku channel also. And one of the things about our Roku channel is, and this is our, let me throw that back up there again real quick. Our Roku channel is going to be expanding. We just got word today that we're going to be adding Francis Howell to our list, not for us, but for their own channel. And also Hillsboro. We're looking into some other schools like Herculaneum, like St. Pius, also being a part of the TKDS Sports Network. So if you're interested in getting a hold of that TKDS Sports Network, this is how you do it. You log on to videos.tkdssports.com for our Roku access, and you'll see our channel on there, the Livestream STL South channel on there, along with any school that comes on board with us through the TKDS Sports Network. So we're trying to up the ante here so people can be able to see your kiddos playing with the unknown things going on with COVID, where there could possibly be little or no fans in the stands. So we wanted to help some of the schools here try to work out a deal where they could stream to each individual school. So that's how you do it. Log on to videos.tkdssports.com.
Livestream STL is expanding our media empire.
I don't know if you want to call it an empire yet, but it is what it is.
Well, and it's important to note, too, that those rules, schools are still working out at this point. I talked to Jason Dreyer this morning down on R7 as far as what they're going to need to do on a weekly basis, depending on what the color code is from the county, from the health department, as far as how many fans can come in, how many home team fans, how many visiting. And it's probably going to change from week to week as we go forward here. So the important thing is, regardless of how many people can get in and watch the kids play, Livestream STL will be here for you.
We are here for you.
We are here for the fans.
I'll be there for you, just like friends.
There you go.
Right?
Well, without further ado, we made him wait till last. He's been very patient. Pleased to speak with head coach of the St. Pius Lancers, Mr. Dan Oliver. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me down.
Well, we appreciate you coming by. Last year was a pretty decent year for the Lancers. You came in your first year as a head coach. You had a pretty good. They handed you the keys to a pretty good running Chevy, and you turned it into a Cadillac. with your
I don't know about that, but we did some good things. We tied the school record for most wins in a season, and had a great group of kids, and we took them from a all spread team to more of a power running team, and had to manufacture a few little items to make that all run together. But they did a good job, and the kids were very responsive, and just been a real pleasurable experience down there with those guys. And got another good group this year, and got a new weight room. It never hurts to get that kind of facility on campus there. And Coach Watson's wearing that thing out, so we'll be looking to have a little fun with that.
Coach Watson going to be even bigger than he was last year as far as muscles? And
I'm not going to comment on anything like that might do with his waistline or anything.
I love it.
That's awesome.
We know Tilden will watch this later. The 8-3 record overall, as you mentioned, tied school record. About 8 seniors lost to graduation.
I think it was like 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
And obviously there were some really good kids. There's some football scholarships were offered. A couple of those guys ended up taking basketball scholarships. So, they were pretty good athletes. And they just, very, very astute, intelligent kids that were hardworking and willing to do whatever you ask them to do. You'd make a comment that, maybe we weren't sharp in this area today, and then tomorrow it was fixed. And that was just such a pleasure to be able to deal with that and that leadership those guys provided. And you had some great linemen with Tristan Jacobson and Patrick Argana, and those guys will be missed. Then you had Josh Rubel and Riley Nager. Everybody knows about those two guys, and they were clutch in a lot of big situations for us last year. So somebody's going to step up and have to take that load on. Fortunately, we still have a few guys in the sideline there waiting to come on, and hopefully we'll be able to make something out of that.
Well, as you mentioned, some of the guys you lost, you had Carson Fisher and Noah Lampros took some snaps at quarterback last year. You lost both of those guys to graduation. Mm-hmm. But your top 2 leading rushers, Nate Rubel and Michael Bollinger, are back. That 1-2 punch it was like the old days when the Tampa Bay Buccaneer offense. You had the fast guy, and then you had the bowling ball back there. Mike Allstott. That kind of reminds me of Bollinger a little bit, the way he runs. As you mentioned, Josh Rubel and Riley Nager were your 2 leading receivers last year, and unfortunately you lost both of them. But Nate Rufel on defense, 92 tackles last year and also 3 interceptions. So he was a major force on defense.
And he's just going to be a junior too. So,
exactly. You talked about the campaign a little bit for your first year at the helm of the Lancers. Obviously, the district playoff game at Charleston, that's an instant live stream STL classic. We're so glad we were able to go down there and cover that game. It was a crazy game, but those are the kind of things you look back and go, what if one play, one touchdown, whatever, could have gone either way for you. But putting the 2019 season to bed, what are some of the things that you saw that stood out?
Well, just like you said, you had those seniors, and Carson was a great leader. He really took to switching over the offensive styles that we had from the one year to the next. We had just a lot of fun. I enjoy, the Friday nights, not having any Saturday games. That was always cool. But we did have one because we started on Friday and finished on Saturday. But it's nice. It's more of a community spirit down here. We're right here in town. 5 minutes over to see Cody. Cody come over to see us, whatever, and those kind of things. I lived down here since I've been married. 30 some years. My daughter went to Windsor. I mean, I've been in Jefferson County, since I got out of college, and so I'm real familiar with a lot of the area down here, and I mean, it's where I make my home, but. So to be down here and, going around the area and playing Friday night football with some of these teams that you've watched and followed for years is a lot of fun, and seeing their facilities and their community and just the excitement there that, sometimes depending on where you travel in the suburban east and then the suburban central division, whatever we were in, there wasn't always a big crowd. So there's always a big crowd Friday nights around here, and the parents and fans are always out there to support their kids, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, I echo those sentiments exactly as someone who's an old suburban conference guy myself, going to Lindbergh. Being at a large school, sometimes in that area, and that was back before cell phones and video games, the certain amount of apathy at the time, but it really is community-oriented fan bases down here, and that's one thing I love about Jefferson County. And I think, obviously, this year with the county and city schools being closed to athletics a lot, I think we're going to see a lot of focus from outside areas, not only on Jefferson County, but to St. Charles County and beyond this year. So if we continue to get to play, it ought to be a fun year. Talking about the quarterback situation, who's fighting for some of the top position on the depth chart as far as quarterback and receiver this year?
Well, last year was, Carson, and then, Colin Smith moved in, and he wasn't eligible for varsity competition, so he ran the JV all year. And so we're looking for Colin to take on those reins and do a good job with that. There's a couple of kids that came over from the soccer program, and then Colin's younger brother James is in there in the mix too. But it's really Colin's job, and he knows that, and it's his responsibility to get things going. But we do have a little depth this year. Like last year, I kind of kept the reins on Carson and didn't let him get out of the pocket too far because there wasn't
didn't want to risk it.
There wasn't many parts left to put that one back together if it got broken. So we just tried to keep him as healthy as we could. So he was smart about it, and he didn't take risks that we didn't need to have him take.
Well, with that changeover a little bit at quarterback this year, and the fact that you've lost a couple of receivers and you're retaining your running backs, do you think that we will see a more run-oriented offense this season? Or,
well, I mean, if we throw them and they catch them, we'll throw it again. If they don't catch them, we'll probably run it again. So, but we'll run the ball. And I think that's kind of where I've always been. More probably lean more to that. Last year we just had a couple of guys that were just phenomenal, and Carson was able to get them the ball and keep feeding them, and so what we can do is go out there and run what we should run, and then see where we go with that. But if we keep throwing to the wrong color jersey, then probably need to quit throwing it. So.
Well, last year obviously was one of those times where you benefit from having a great big target that can jump up and get the ball with Riley. That's a luxury that you can't count on from year to year, and no matter where you are in Jefferson County. So you had to utilize it when you could.
Right.
Your defense last year was very good. Gave up just over 14 points a game. We talked about Nate Rubel really dominating on defense. You think, again, like DeSoto, that the defense will be your main strength again this year?
Well, I think, if any year you can make it be part of, the strength, that's, the old saying, defense wins championships type thing. But, when you've got guys like that, can get you the ball back and give you more opportunities to try to score, I mean, that's just always going to be great. I mean, those guys gave up 14 points, but really if you look at it, a lot of the points that they did give up weren't the first guys. You know, it was like we've already subbed out and put some younger guys in and let them try to get some reps and stuff, and then gave up some touchdowns there. But I think from the first game to probably the 8th game, we didn't probably give up a touchdown against, from our starters. And I could be wrong. I mean, there's probably some guys that did score on us, but it was pretty few and far between. And, when you have that kind of opportunity to keep getting balls back and stopping drives and things like that. And then, we've got a pretty good kicker with Logan Jacobson being a punter and kicker. And, if he can make somebody in high school football, if you can make somebody go 80 yards every time, that's a heck of a lot harder to do than it is to, if you have turnovers and short fields and things like that. So, those two things go together, and as long as Logan can kind of help us keep people pinned down, our defense is going to do a pretty good job, and then hopefully our offense will come out and not turn the ball over. So,
well, yeah, as you said last year, your offense was beneficial of having a short field to work with quite a few times in the games that I saw. So I've asked the other coaches this question too. I also have to ask you who you're looking to this year as far as upperclassmen or players that you will see as leaders on your team.
Well, I think you mentioned Mike and Nate, and I think it starts really with those guys. Trace Jones has gone from a halfback to a fullback, and really, we were, not having a lot of fullbacks in the pipeline there. So he came along and has really taken well to that, and I anticipate him helping that running game out a lot. Axel Creed and Logan Jacobson have been trying to replace Riley and Josh, and then there's some other guys in there too. There's, we might rotate 6 guys through there this year. Last year we run about 4, but this year we might run 6 guys in there, and we'll just have to see how they do. And next Friday night, the Jamboree down at St. Vincent, we'll just it'll be a good night to see who's going to go out there. And, the lights come on. It's a little different than sunlight at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and mom and dad sitting in the stands. So, but we'll see how they react to that and see how they do. Up front, Sean Meyer has been a 2-year starter for us. He's center. He's done a great job. He's back, and we're looking for another great year from him. Patrick's brother Michael's now down on the line, Patrick Argana and Michael Argana, and then we've got Jackson Hall, Jackson Wiscala, Tristan Wiscala. Those guys are all fighting it out on the other side of the line over there, trying to figure out who's going to come out of that. There's a few guys in there, some younger guys, but try to let these older guys shake it out first and see where they come out.
Well, I know for me personally, and Ray, I don't know how you feel about this. I hope that Axel Creed gets the ball a lot, just because it's one of the best names for a football player in the county. And I want to be able to say that name quite a bit. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's all about the name.
That's a good name.
That is a great name for a
Love
football player. Now, we talked about the beautiful new wellness center facility you guys have over there at St. Pius. And aside from your AD, Tilden Watson, in there hanging and banging all the time in the weight room, have you seen some guys in there that by the time they got to either your summer camp or first week of training camp, you're going, hey, we're seeing some benefits and some gains here already?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are in there a lot. When this all hit in March and we had to shut down, we were fortunate for the fact that we just got finished with our weight room, and our old weight room was still upstairs. So we packed it up and checked it out to the kids and said, here you go, take it home. And we gave them cages and racks and bars, and they took it home and kept going. And we would just send it out to them each week. Here's your workout. So we were able to take a pretty good chunk of weight room stuff from the upstairs and send it out to the kids. And
it worked out nicely.
Yeah, we had pickups backed up there to school for a couple of weeks loading up that stuff. So,
well, anybody this week you got to your first week of practice and you looked at the kid, and anybody you want to mention, you think, well, they just didn't sit around playing video games this whole summer. They actually put that equipment to use.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys we talked about, and then Connor Harden is coming back on defense. He played really well for us last year, and Austin Almany is just going to be a junior, and you know, he's in the mix on the offensive line somewhere there too. Plays a little defensive end. Xander Parson played a lot of baseball this summer, and then you know, he was hitting it in the weight room. I mean, Xander walked on the field probably about a week after we started last year, and they said, you know, this big kid's going to play football. And I was like, okay, you know, I've seen this before, and they usually come out and can't tie their shoes. And, you know, he actually came out, and, you know, you would not have said that's the kid that's never played football before. And probably within a couple of weeks after he got his practices in, he started. He had a great night. Then he kind of got a little bit, started thinking too much, and then he came back, and he had a very good year, finished it up. But he was able to be here this summer where he wasn't even around last summer because he wasn't even going to play. So to have him kind of go through the summer with us this year was a big plus, and having him in the weight room and stuff, he's leaned out a little bit. So, you know, we're real happy with a lot of those guys. So
I've got to say this real quick. I got a call from Xander this afternoon.
Oh, my goodness.
Left me a message.
Is he broke down?
No, he's not broke down. No. In fact, we've got a little bit of action to see him this summer with Festus.
With 253, big first baseman.
He asked me, he's like, could I possibly get some of those clips from this summer baseball? And I was like, well, absolutely, because he's got a couple of scouts looking at him for baseball. So
Definitely.
I thought, hey, you know, and that's what we're in here for. So, you know, we're wanting to help them get themselves into a good school, and so I just thought it was awesome that he called.
Yeah,
left
a
a
great
message.
kid.
Real. I mean, manners is unbelievable. So
yeah, yes, and I wish I would have got to see him throw the baseball a little bit last year. You know, because you know, we got shut down before we really got going.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, Xander's a big specimen. He's a nice big target over there at first base for the guys out there at 253, and he was a welcome addition to the team. And yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what he does on the football field this fall, and hopefully next spring baseball as well. Right. But as Ray mentioned, that makes me so happy to hear, Ray, because that's what we do. That's why we're here. We want to help shine a light on these kids,
right?
And that's why we got into this whole thing in the first place. So that's wonderful to hear. Coach, gonna put you on the spot now and ask you who you think your toughest competition in the conference will be this year.
Oh, it's probably Herky, since he's sitting right here. I don't want him putting no bullseyes on me already.
You know? Wise answer.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You guys been doing it for a while.
I'm gonna take care of Cody. He's right here beside me. He's a pretty big guy.
We're gonna come give you our best. We'll see what that is.
There you go.
I love it.
Know, I always say that, you know, when you get these situations and you've got a team that, you know, obviously in our conference has been on top for so long, you know, you always have to kind of pick those guys, and, you know, and I hate to say Valley, but you know, they're probably until somebody knocks them off, they're probably the guy you got to beat, and we're going to work real hard to try to do that, and I think Judd knows that, and he's down there working real hard to keep that from happening. But you know, I think the rest of us are all in that same boat. You know, I mean, if we could knock off those guys, we'll all be happy. And you know, I mean, any conference win's a good win. You know, because there's towns and the schools are so close together that a lot of there's a lot of friends that play summer ball together. There's a lot of friends that know each other from little leagues and different things around.
That's another thing about, you talked about sports in Jefferson County. All these kids know each other.
Right.
You know? Back when we grew up in St. Louis County, I didn't know a bunch of guys on Melville or Oakville or anything like that. But down here, everybody knows everybody.
Right. And,
you know,
and you know, parents all work with each other and different things, and so it means a lot. You know, sitting around the water cooler sort of deal or barbershop on Saturday morning, you know, whatever, and you know, kind of talking about how your kids did against your neighbor's kids and stuff. So, you know, conference games are always fun and they're exciting, and that's kind of why we all have conference games, so we can, you know, kind of have those rivalries within town, and as long as it stays at that sportsmanship level, then you know, then it's what it's supposed to be.
Sure. But generally speaking, they're good fun rivalries.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah, everything down here has been just great.
Well, I've got a few questions here, Ray. I want to ask the guys real quick before we get out of here as a group, as a panel. And Coach, we appreciate all of your answers about your team this year. 2 days ago, Misha came out with a new ruling as far as tweaking things a little bit as far as teams that had to cancel their fall sports. This mainly affects, obviously, St. Louis County, St. Louis City. as far as championships and moving towards spring sports. Do you guys have any thoughts on that at all? As someone we're obviously planning on moving forward this fall here in Jefferson County, you guys have any thoughts on that ruling?
I mean, I guess for us, we're just lucky that we don't, at this point, we're not into that situation yet. Because, I mean, the headache and the nightmare of trying to figure out how to push it to the spring, and then they're going to have championships in the fall, and they're going to have championships in the spring. And so I guess for being down here, I guess we all just feel very lucky and blessed that we're able to, as of right now, just keep doing what we're doing and be smart about it. And as long as we keep holding true, if we get a season in, I think we're all going to be very happy.
Very good answer.
I think I'm the same way. As long as we get to play, we keep practicing. Yep. We don't have to deal with all the other things. We got to deal with a lot, here in Jefferson County, but our schedule's still there for the most part. And, what's going to happen if you lose 1 week, and is it a bye, or are you trying to scramble to play somebody else? We don't know what those answers are yet. And, we just keep telling our kids, our coaches, I'm sure these guys are doing the same thing. We're week to week, we're day to day, and we'll just keep rolling with the punches for sure.
Yeah. That's why your ADs and administrators get the big bucks. Let them figure that out. That's right.
There you go.
I think the one thing I thought about when Illinois started, with their announcement, they were going to do that, and I thought these poor kids that are sitting here and their signing deadline is December, and they're not going to get to play until, later in the spring, and that's tough. And then, I thought to myself, I coach baseball and I coach football, and to come out of one right into the other would be tough. But then now they're talking that I think like maybe July would be the end of the season, and I'm pretty much right in the middle of getting ready for the next fall at that point, and I just don't know how that is. And then then I think we're pretty much all of us are in the same situation where we've got kids we share with other coaches in other sports.
Sure. Right.
And, I don't know how that does, and that sort of puts those kids in a bind. And there are a lot of games in a short amount of time there at that time if that happens. And, injuries go up, and that's why, we have those rules where you can't play two sports at the same time and things like that. And, I don't know what the good answer is, but I don't know if I like this proposal either. So, I don't
think that there is any good answer, unfortunately.
I didn't finish med school, so I don't call me doctor, so I don't get to make those big choices.
That's great. Well, I appreciate your guys' input and thoughts on that. We talked a little bit about jamborees. And, coaches, Missouri coaches came out and they said no jamborees. So some schools aren't doing jamborees. Some schools are doing jamborees. Now, you guys are going to be jamborees at St. Vincent, is that correct? Herky and
we're together.
And okay.
And then he's going to SV,
yeah.
Okay, so you guys are where?
We're going to be at DeSoto.
You're going to be at DeSoto.
Yep, we're going against each other.
What date is that?
Next Friday.
Next Friday, and it's
Yes,
just
sir.
you two? Or,
Yep, that's
okay.
it. Yep.
All right, and then
we're at St. Vincent.
You're at St.
and
Vincent.
I don't know who might join us. Park Hills had talked to us earlier. We'd been in a jamboree with St. Vincent. With St. John and Valley and Park Hills last year, and those St. John teams decided not to do it this year. And Park Hills wanted to do it. We were going to maybe even do it at St. Pius, and then we haven't heard back if they really wanted to do it or not. So I don't know if they're going to join us or not, but if not, we'll probably do 12 varsity plays, 12 JV plays, and 12 varsity plays. Get our 36 in and be done.
Sure.
I just think 30 some plays would be probably too much. I don't know if I want to do that, but we'll work it out and we'll get all the kids some reps and see where we're at.
Let them beat on somebody else for a change other than them. Their teammates, that's for sure.
Right.
Well, we're down to our final question, our famous final question on the show, and I appreciate, gentlemen, you've been wonderful guests today, wonderful interviews. Football coaches are great, Ray.
Yep.
They're always ready with the answers. We're going to turn it over to Ray Halbrook, our man here, and he's going to ask you the Ray question, okay, the modified COVID-19 version of the Ray question. So take it away, Ray.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, there we go. We most of you guys know the Ray question. Something that you guys normally, something we might not know about you. So we're going to make this into the COVID question. What is something that you did during COVID that might be kind of unusual, or I know I had 2 months. There wasn't a whole lot going on there, and everybody's kind of just hurry up and waiting. But something unusual? Did you go on a vacation or anything like that?
Did you pick up a new hobby?
Right.
Did you have to do a bunch of
Right.
new work to the house? Did you binge on any Netflix shows? That kind of stuff.
Well, I'll go first because this is easy. I actually had time in my life to actually do something
There
in
you
my
go.
own house.
Nice.
So I did a whole lot of remodeling at the house, all different kinds of projects. Did a little side job working. We were going to go on a trip to Canada, didn't go to Canada. We're going to go to Mark Twain, didn't go to Mark Twain. We went on down the road to St. John for a family vacation in my
There you
sister's
go.
lake house. So,
Right.
changing with the times. But being a 3-sport coach, you don't have a whole lot of extra time.
Right.
You know, so it was pretty nice. Got to spend a lot of time with the fam. At home, you guys aren't ever home. We're not home as coaches,
Right,
especially
right,
head coaches. And, just to have that extra time to actually do a little bit more planning and things like that. And zooming with the coaches, that was something new for us.
Oh, yeah.
Zooming with our coaches, zooming with our kids, and trying to get a plan for whenever that plan was going to be released.
If you missed out on Zoom, you're actually pretty lucky, believe it or not, because Zoom was the rage for us when we got into COVID. We were doing Main Street Sports, we were doing the Coach's Box via Zoom, and some of those were pretty comical, actually.
Absolutely.
So interesting.
What about you guys, Coach Johnson?
I was similar to him. I was lucky. We had moved into our house right at the beginning of football season last year, and so it was more or less football season started, and whatever boxes we could kind of get undone, we got undone, and at that point it was really just, here we go. My wife's a teacher as well, so once it got going, there wasn't a whole lot we could do. So once this COVID thing hit, we got a lot accomplished around the house that otherwise things that you think are going to take 2 to 3 years because you're just not going to have the time. We were able to get a lot of stuff done in a really kind of a short period of time, which was good because you had to have something to do. I mean, there's only so much Netflix you can watch. And that's true. There's only so many pounds you can gain. And so you're like, oh, my gosh, man, I got to find something. So it was kind of nice to at least have, a lot of chores, a lot of things that we wanted to do around the house that I didn't think we'd have time to get to really get a lot of that stuff done. So utilized the time pretty well and got to, like he said, you got to be around the family a lot more than normal. So it was nice. It was good.
Try to make a bad situation and
Sure.
kind of turn it into a blessing a little bit as far as the time with the family. What about you, Coach Oliver? Did you do anything fun this summer?
Yeah, well, really, I come from a small area, kind of Midwest or middle of the state, and there was I think there was a total of 14 cases of COVID out there, so I kind of hid out there and got my deer stands ready to go and did a little bit of farm work and things like that, and just kind of stayed away from everything else. And my children are grown, and we bought a new house, and my wife's a nurse, so she was obviously at work, and so I just took the dog and we went to the farm and we got away from everybody. So that's kind of it for me, and kind of kept an eye on what baseball could have been or would have been, and there was a lot of different scenarios at that time about coming back or whatever, and just trying to stay. I'd probably go down to St. Pius once a week and just stay in touch with what's going on and things like that. But it was a little bit of Netflix, a little bit of Amazon, a little bit of this and that, and just really not knowing what to do with myself, because that's just not something that I've been able to do in the last 30-something years. So, I'm pretty old. I think I coached against Chris when he was in high school. So, it's one of those deals where, this has been a long time doing these things, and old habits die hard. So
I think spending a couple of weeks on the farm sounds pretty nice,
Yeah,
personally. I have to tell you. Well, Ray, I don't know about you, but I've had a wonderful time today talking with these three gentlemen about football season, and I'm so excited. I'm chomping at the bit. I know they're chomping at the bit to get going here. But we've had fun today. Next week, I don't know what our direction is going to be. If we're going to have some players in here. We talk about that a little bit. But what do you have on the coach's box next week, Ray?
That's a really good question, because with the way our shows have been going off the rails the last 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, we're 30 minutes into the show, and I'm not sure if a lightning hit a pole or what, but
Power
there was an
out
accident.
here.
Power went out. We had to kind of piece together a show, but we finished it off. Last week we had Jim Powers in from the high school caravan, and goodness, that was way off the rails that night. But I know one of the things that we're looking at, and we've done a big push on on football. We also are going to be covering volleyball and softball this year, so I know that we'll probably be looking to kicking and changing gears a little bit. We wanted to get the football guys out of the way.
Hopefully you and I will have some information on both volleyball and softball schedules that games we'll be covering very soon here. We'll be unveiling.
We've waited to hold out. We're holding out here because we just want to make sure that schedules don't change, which even after we say, okay, that's a schedule, it could still change.
Absolutely.
So with everything that's gone on, and the uncertainty, we've got a schedule. We can release it. We'll probably release it sometime next week, and it might just be me and you from our houses or whatever. But we're planning on doing that, and we'll be hitting up coaches, softball coaches. I know Jeff Montgomery's wanting to be on here really, really bad, and Kevin Holly's always a good interview too.
Absolutely.
And so guys like that, and then I don't know a lot of volleyball coaches, so I might need some help from you on that one.
We'll get you on board there. I get you some volleyball coaches on there.
So yeah, that's our plan.
All right, well, let's wrap things up here from the Wapachangas in Herculaneum, Missouri. Folks, you've been watching the live stream Main Street Sports Show on Livestream STL. Pardon me. Do us a favor, if you would, give us a like and a share, and share this broadcast later on so folks who are working right now can see it later on in their news feed on Facebook and get to hear from these coaches over here. And gentlemen, we appreciate you coming in. We'll see you in just a few weeks. Things are going to get fun and get interesting here. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming on and tuning in today.